Hey everyone, Fire here, and today I'm going to show you the most broken skill currently in Path of Exile. Bit of background before we start. I practiced a Scourge Arrow League starter for about a week and a half before the league launched. I even streamed 3 days worth of this practice. My current character has 3 to 4 times the amount of POE DPS as the practice character had, and yet paradoxically it seems to deal less DPS. I'm completely struggling on bosses, having a very hard time with certain arch nemesis monsters, whole bunch of issues. And after a day and a half away from the game, I decided I was losing sleep trying to figure out what went wrong. Surely GGG didn't ninja nerf my character again. Turns out they did. And I'm going to show you the results of my testing. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of bugs today that are currently affecting Scourge Arrow. It's not just one bug, it's like a whole bunch of different bugs that each make Scourge Arrow much worse as a skill, and when combined, pretty much reduce its potential DPS in some situations by up to 80%. One of the features of Scourge Arrow has been that you can actually determine how far apart the pods spread after you shoot it off, based on whether you release the skill with your cursor close to your character or far away. And I'm just going to show you exactly what that looks like on this screen right here. So we can just see this. Now, as you can see here, the prisms are touching each other, right? Okay, so let's full screen this. Look at this. The edges of these prisms on this MTX are touching over here, and there are only small gaps here. But you can see all 5 fit pretty handily onto the screen and are all near the character. They're not very spread out at all. Let me show you what it looks like in-game at the moment. See, in-game at the moment, you just always get full spread no matter what, and it's pretty fucking horrendous. Look at this. Look, just completely off my screen. And the reason this is such a big problem on itself is because look what happens when I aim it at the wall. Only 3 pods. Now, if this was clumped up, I could fit 5 pods in here, right? Look how far apart these prisms are. They're not even close to touching. Even if they were perfectly rotated, there's no way they would be touching. It makes it nearly impossible to get the maximum... Like, there is a helmet that adds an additional... the helmet enchant adds an additional pod to your Scourge Arrow, but there's no point even adding it when it's doing this, right? Because it's just always going to clip into walls, which is a massive problem. Now, the next problem is that after you add additional projectiles to Scourge Arrow, holding it down and releasing it at various distances from your character actually does affect the way it casts, but not in a way that is favorable to you at all. So, this is what it looks like if I release it very close to my character. Okay, that's fine. That's completely fine, okay? Now sure, it's still not clumping the way it should, right? But this is okay. Now look at what happens if I aim it far away from my character. The first pods start to spawn way off in Africa. Look at this. 1 pod. There is tons of room between this wall and my character, but I can only spawn 1 pod because I just happened to release it particularly far away. Now, the biggest problem for me is that instead of getting a 3 and 2 split when you're firing off 2 primary projectiles, instead you get 4 and 1. Just look at this. 2 projectiles, but we had 4 on one and 1 on the other. Just look at this. So of course, if you're too close to a wall, you're just going to lose a whole bunch of projectiles because the game apparently does not know how to divide by 2 and round. Instead, you get this. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like on a totem. Now, we're firing with 2 projectiles here. We should get a nice split, and there's enough distance between the boss and the totem and the wall that you should at least be getting like 3 or 4 pods over here, but just look at this. By the looks of it, we're only getting 1 pod. Going through all of VODs and footage, it looks like the auto-spreading problem has only been a problem this year. It was definitely present last patch. I watched the VODs from when I was streaming this just last week, or the week before rather, and I was seeing the spreading problem occurring then. As for the game being unable to split spores between 2 projectiles properly and aiming them a little too far out, I think that's a newer problem, and I don't know how. I guess maybe someone stuffed something up when they went to buff Scourge Arrow in the current patch. I'm not sure. But this is the 4th time that my League starter has been ninja nerfed, right? I would just like to be able to play in a League starter and then log in on patch day and have it work the way it does in POB and the way it did on the previous patch. This is getting a little ridiculous. I'm starting to think that someone from GGG is out to get me, and GGG, if you are listening, I'll do anything to make things right between us. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm willing to do the right thing from now on, okay? And look, I watched all the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. I bought a t-shirt from Hobbiton. I even dated a girl from New Zealand. But if I need to do more, you just let me know and I'll do it.